Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Abby. Nice to meet you. If you want to see how to create this look, keep watching. So today we're going to start off with the P.Louise base. I use this on every client. I absolutely love it. I swear by it. So I've already done this eye off camera, and I tend to do my brows just because I can't not do them together. So I've done them to begin with. So I've already carved underneath my brow using the P.Louise base. So I'm just going to take some and pat that all over the lid. I tend to go in the side at the corner of my nose, and I tend to take just a little under the eye as well. So once you've patted the P.Louise base all over the lid, then we're going to go in with a fluffy brush and just blend out those edges. It's all lovely and blended in because you don't want any harsh lines, just because once you go to put the rest of your foundation and things on, you'll always have that harsh step otherwise, and we don't want that. So today we are using the Huda Beauty Nudes palette. I love this one because the colours in it are just really pretty and soft. Here's the colours. You see that? The first shade we are going in with is Tickle. So we're going to start by stamping the shade Tickle just in the outer 2/3 of your crease. It's just where that sort of eye socket is. And we're taking that on like a flat sort of fluffy brush. I tend to like the flat ones for doing this, just because you can really get in there and you can build up that shape and that colour nice and quickly. So we're going to take this round following the shape of the eye. So we're going to end it right on the corner of the eye, just where, so if you're looking straight, just where your eyelashes stop. So we're stamping the colour on first to build up the colour intensity, and then we'll go and blend out the edges. I do love this colour. It's like a dusky rose sort of colour. It's beautiful. Once we've built up that colour, we're just gonna blur out the edges a little. Take the brush, really light pressure, and just small, sort of like little circle, vibrating the brush back and forth. It just helps with diffusing that edge a little bit. The next shade we're going to go in with is this one here. It's like a light peachy shade. It's called Play. We're going to take that on a fluffy brush. We're just going to start by teasing the edges of that pink with a little bit of that peachy shade. So taking the brush in small circular motions, keeping it nice and tight and trying not to blend that out too far. When you hit the bottom sort of corner of the lid, if you use your brush and use the circular motions back towards your eye rather than out towards, because the more you go out, the more that's going to pull that out and blow it out, as we want to keep it more quite tight this time. So the next shade we're going to go in with is called Spank. That is more of like a darky pinky purple kind of colour. So we're going to take that in on a pencil brush, and we're just going to stamp that right in the crease in the outer corner of the eye, and we're gonna bring that in just slightly above the top. Don't worry about any harsh steps or lines or anything, because we're going to go back with all three colours and blend them out. So where you place your product will depend on your eye shape. So if I look straight ahead, just going to look at me in the mirror. So if I look straight ahead, I've got quite hooded eyes, which means my top of my eye sort of meets my lid. You can't see my crease when my eyes are open. So I tend to bring everything just that little bit higher so you can still see it. We're just gonna take some of that along the outer corner of the lash line as well, creating that colour all across that corner of the eye. There we go. So you can see we're getting that sort of defined shape. And now we're going to go back and blend that out. Next we're going to go along the edges with our first shade, which is Tickle. It's like that dusky rosy pink colour. And we're just using small soft circular motions, almost just vibrating that brush back and forth across the skin. It always looks so intense when you've done one eye and put all the colours on, and then the other eye always looks really dark. And I always think, have I done it right? And then it all comes together at the end. So we're going to go back in with the shade Play, which is that peachy sort of colour that we're using on the right out on the edge. So now we've finished those blends, we're just going to go back in with a little bit of glitter just to sparkle up that front bit. So it wouldn't be one of my looks if it didn't add more glitter. So we're going in with Peaches and Cream in the shade Prin. So we're gonna spray our brush and then just gonna tap that into the front of the eye. Just see it building up that glitter intensity. You can see that's really brightened up the inner corner, and we got them matching lovely. Once we're happy with the top of the eye, we're going to move on to the underneath. So for our under eye, what comes up must come down. So we're going to put our 3 shades underneath the eye as well. We're just going to blend out those edges. Under eyes look literally hides the world. We're going with some liner in the waterline, and we're going in with like a dark browny colour. This is Costa Riche by MAC. So we're going to take our darkest shade closest to the waterline. Oh, my eyes really hate this bit. Don't need to worry about being too precise with it because we're just going to tidy it up. Let's just blend out my fingerprints. No one wants fingerprints in their face. There we go, don't want them sticking around. Your back and eyes are done. As always, you don't always have to go underneath the eyes if you don't want to, it's personal preference. For me, I just find it sort of completes the whole look for me. So I'm going to head off camera and do some mascara and some lashes, and I'll be back. So I am back. I've just popped some mascara on and some lashes. These lashes are from Primalash and they are in the style Vein. I do love a spiky lash on myself. If you wanted to go for a less sort of dramatic lash, I go for something softer, maybe the Jasmine style by Amore, because they're really lovely. Like, you still get an effect with them, but they're not as boom. But I do love a full lash. So for skin today, I'm going to be using Illamasqua Skin Base. And with this, I love to use their Hydra Veil Primer. I'm not really a primer lover, but I find this foundation and primer combo just really complement each other so well. This primer is the weirdest consistency I have ever used. You see that? I don't think it'll focus on it. It's like jelly. You can apply this primer with your fingers or with a brush. I'm going to use a brush just because I like to. How's everybody finding lockdown? too bad so far. It is going, it feels a bit long now, doesn't it? Like, is everybody else just ready to just go and have a nice meal or a nice drink somewhere? I'm definitely ready for that. This is the Hydra Veil primer. They do a matte veil as well, but because I've got really dry skin, I use the hydrating one. But if you have got really oily skin, I'd use the matte one. The matte one's not like jelly, it's more of like a liquidy. There we go, we're ready. I'm using the Illamasqua Skin Base in the shade 3.5. This matches my lovely pale skin. And I am using a Real Techniques multitasking brush. This is the travel version, but it's the same size head, so it does the job. Just buffing that into the skin. I absolutely love the finish on this foundation. It is just beautiful, the way it just mimics the texture of the skin. This is my favourite foundation to use on brides, just because the way it photographs is just phenomenal. What makes this ideal for brides is because it's got no SPF in it, it doesn't give you any flashback on the camera. So that's why I tend to use it. I'm just going to take the small fluffy brush we had for concealer earlier and just go in around the features, like the hairline, around the brows, things like that. So I'd say this foundation is a medium coverage, but it's definitely buildable. So for concealer, we are going in with the Maybelline Fit Me. Mine's quite empty, so. Casually using a viewfinder as a mirror. Just right here. Just going to blend that out with a small face brush. This is the contour one from Real Techniques. You know what, I started a new skincare regime this week, and the difference it's had on my skin already is insane. Now, I feel like because I've had more time being in the house because of the lockdown, it's just given me more time to do things like skincare. Once the concealer's all blended in, we're now going to go in with some powder and set that down. I am using the MAC Studio Fix foundation powder just to set down those concealer areas. I like to use a foundation powder sometimes just because it gives that little bit more coverage in the areas where you might want it. So when you're setting down your face, you really want to be tapping that powder in and almost pushing it into the skin. So for bronzer, we are going in with my fave, which is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Tan. I pretty much use this on everybody. It is quite, like, it's quite a nice colour. My lid's broken. I use this bronzer pretty much on everybody. So for a more paler complexion, like myself, I just take a tiny little bit of powder and slowly build it up, work it into the skin. You don't want to go in with too much because you don't want to get that heavy-handed stripe that will be a nightmare to blend out. So as you can see, we're just starting to build up that bit of colour. And we're just going to take that bronze up into the temple area as well. So after my last video, I had a few questions about cream contouring. So if you want to see a video on that, just let me know. I can do one for you. When we're getting that contouring of the face, you just want to imagine that there's a line from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth, and that's what we're following. Try not to bring it too far down into the face because we don't want to bring the face down, we want to lift it up. So I tend to curve up just a little bit towards the bottom. You can see on this side it kind of goes round rather than down. Then we're just going to take that bronzer just around the top of the forehead. Really going in with that bronze today because it's just lovely and sunny outside and I miss the sun outside. Just going to go in on the jawline with a really small amount. Smaller brush and a slightly cooler toned bronzer. I'm just going to contour the nose. I don't always contour my nose, but this concealer is really bright and it's just taken out that feature. So we're just popping a little bit of definition back in towards the brow bone and just taking it down slightly, and we're going to do underneath as well. The blush, we're going to go in with my all-time favourite blush. So this is from a brand called Doucce, I think that's how you say it. That's the colour there. This is called Can't Lie. And this, do you know what? I got this in I think it's My Glam box subscription, I think. It's like a monthly box that you get all makeup products. And do you know what? Since I had that, I just fell in love with it. It's like a soft peachy pink. See? Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. So if you know me, you'll know that I personally love a heavy blush. So I am a huge fan of blush. I think it just really brightens and lifts the face. Even if I get clients that tell me they hate blush, you still need a little bit because it just lifts the face so much. Adds that colour wash back in. It just makes you look more alive. So for highlight, I'm going to go in with the Doucce Beauty Like a Diamond highlighter. So this is their lighter one. I think it's their lightest one, I believe. So mine's the old packaging. They have got new packaging, which is now like pink and gold. Mine's had a hammer in, but I need to order a new one. Just taking that highlight on the brush I used earlier for powder. Look at that glow. I do love the highlighters by Doucce Beauty because they are my favourite. Like, oh. I absolutely love highlighter, so if you're not as much as a fan, then you can scale it down a bit. Pop some on that inner corner. Boom. And that brow bone. So for lips, we're going to keep with the pink theme, and I'm going to go in with the NYX lip liner, the Suede one, in the shade Cans. This is like a rosy pinky colour. So we're going to start by lining the outer corner of the lips first and work our way into the centre. So I've taken that lip liner and shaded in the whole lip. So I'm just going to go in with the Urban Decay Hi-Fi Shine, oh, it's very shiny, Hi-Fi Shine Gloss in the shade SPL. Just going to tap that in the centre of the lip. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you on the next one.